Yeah. And then
1, 2, 3. That wasn't.
you can do one as well
Do
if you
any?
want.
That was poor one.
Welcome back to Unsigned Berlin. I'm sat here today with 3 parts of Tolstoys, so Ela, Drew, and Paulina. And you have an upcoming album. There's 2 singles out already.
3,
and
actually.
There's 3 singles out already. And we're going to start off with a little snippet of one of them, which is Curious.
I'm curious. It's a mystery, baby. I don't know why I'm falling for you. But when you kiss me, baby, all my love comes through.
And that was Curious by Tolstoys.
Whoa, that was fast.
Yeah, great. It was bang. The band is pretty rooted in a lot of spirituality, especially Eastern European spirituality, but there's lots of different heritages in the band, New Zealand, Germany, and everything. Do you feel like since the inclusion of members that are not Slovakian, that's changed the music or the visuals at all? Or has it stayed pretty true to Slovakian?
Became more Slovakian.
Became more Slovakian, yeah. I think we didn't have so much Slovak influences before. We didn't use it so much. And then actually when Andy came, we started to dig into it more. But the spirituality, it sounds like we are a Christian band.
No, just in energy. I feel like that's and the visuals and stuff was not traditional as in what's been done before, but traditional as in connected to traditions.
It's older Eastern European religions, like older than Christianity.
Yeah. Did that have anything to do with why you chose to move to Berlin? Or was it more of a business-oriented thing? Or what was the decision on moving?
No, it was just happy accident because I wanted to move to London and Brexit came, so I moved to Berlin.
Really? I didn't know this.
Why did you want to move to London?
I wanted to study there, and then I decided to study here. And before that, we knew Drew. He was our producer back then, and we were traveling back and forward together. We were recording in Berlin and in Slovakia, and we were already working together. So actually, when this happy accident happened, it really made sense because I already had friend here.
So we owe it all to Boris Johnson. he's our...
Something can be owed.
But there was one thing that Mishka said the other day, which I really liked about this, how Slovakian the band is. And he said that when you were still living there, it was kind of uncool to embrace it. And you kind of wanted to be like international. And then once you moved out of Slovakia, it actually became cool to be connected to your roots. So
yes, I think it's still there because like Slovak and also Czech scene is super nice, but it's very, very small and it's like little family. And then also people don't realize sometimes how cool it is there. And they just trying to be more Western. And then maybe here in Berlin or like in other bigger cities, it's so multicultural that you actually like to remember your roots and you actually get back to it, which I think that's what happened.
Yeah, and it gives you more of a perspective on it as well, where sometimes when you're living somewhere, you see all the negatives and everything and you're not focused as much on the positives, and then moving away, you're like, oh, actually, I really missed this part. Going into this album, No Limit to Love, what was the idea? Was it already like, this is the message we want to say with this album, or was it more of the, let's make lots of songs and see what comes out kind of approach?
I think we started demoing, and one of the main things was moving from any synthesizer digital music to like we had some of that in the one before. the record before kind of had this cheap synthesizer sound on purpose. Like we used all these really crappy
Casio synth.
Casio synths.
Mhm.
That was a big part of the sound. Kind of more like what you could find for free in Eastern Europe. That was
Right.
more of that sound. Then with No Limit to Love, we definitely just wanted to get rid of anything digital, so it was all going to be analog.
Mhm.
And that means the approach was way different and the references were all different.
And also with this album, I think we were already pretty united in music taste, and we
Yeah.
were listening to same music. So, and we're listening to lots of 70s music, and that became one of the main influences then. And
We realized that all the references for the last album, none of us liked any of it. So why were we making that music? It was funny.
yes, so yeah, so it changed, and then, but it was still like we're just writing song by song, and it came very naturally to us. It
Yeah.
wasn't like we have this big concept and now we do everything around it. Like it was more, we just put some few rules that will, and main was like we'll not do any tricks,
Yeah.
and we just stick to it
Nice.
through the whole record.
To what extent was it analog?
Entirely.
So because obviously, I mean, it has to become digital to go to streaming, right?
Mhm.
Was everything recorded and mixed fully analog and then just printed to go?
Pretty much.
Well,
So big mixing disc, really nice, like early 90s mixing disc. Very, very nice one. And then everything just ran through that. And we ran the computer like a tape machine. Preferably it would have just been a tape machine, but the way we were setting up, that's like pretty difficult to do.
Yeah.
But we treated it as such. So like super high sample rate and then just not.
just let it
Yeah,
run. And,
that's all it can do is hit record. That's all it's
Mhm.
allowed to do.
And then all the effects we also used were analog. So for example, for my vocals, we bought this Leslie cabinet effect, which was this big box, and we just used that, and we're mixing it in my vocals. So we're recording my vocal through mic and through Leslie in the same time, and then we're like mixing Leslie in some parts.
So everything, even reverbs, delays, everything analog. There was no
Mhm. Why did you decide to do that?
sounds better.
Fair enough.
Yeah. So like there was some, when I was mixing this in production, nothing digital whatsoever. And then when I was mixing, I had some digital things as placeholders
Right.
that were then replaced after with
Mhm.
analog.
Right.
For example, I used a spring reverb on the entire record,
Mhm.
which was a digital thing at first, and then I just switched it out to
Right.
being a spring. And it makes a massive difference. Like it also, the confines of analog recording makes you make cooler decisions because it
Right.
limits you. You can't have that big, super long reverb. You can't have this delay that goes forever. Kind of these limits that it places on you makes your music cooler.
Yeah, and sharper decisions to be like, this
Yeah.
is going to be the way it is.
And maybe we're also concentrating on a lot on making every instrument sound very special and making it to the max what it is somehow. And like we were trying to use special sounds on the record. So for example, Mishko, he plays on the fretless bass, which is just that is like very beautifully
Expressive.
yeah, and also like it's very unique sound, I think.
Mhm.
And then also we used 12-string guitar, and then we used lots of Slovak instruments, for example, which I think we will be using also on the next records more and more. But we started kind of with that. So for example, we used fujara, which is like this huge flute, and we recorded it, and then we used it as a synth.
Mhm.
And yeah, lots of these Slovak little
Cool.
little toys.
Yeah. And you all lived together for a month, right, in recording this.
Mhm.
What was that experience like?
It was good. It was tiring, but it was cool.
Intense.
Intense. Yeah.
It was nice. It was really nice experience where we were able to just engage fully with art and like don't think really about anything else. We really, all of us, we took that month and did just that, which was
Mhm.
really nice.
How far along was the album at that point? Was it all the demos done? And
We
then-
finished every single piece. So our pre-production phase was longer than our
Yeah.
production phase, and we really focused on pre-production because we knew we were going in analog, so we weren't going to be able to change shit.
Mhm.
Stuff would like you'd be inspired by the sounds that come in the studio, and then little things would change. But the overall songs were completely finalized in pre-production.
Right. And at what point were you did you look at where the band was, where the album was, and think like, this is an option, we can go do this? Because it's a really cool idea, but then there's a lot of barriers before you can actually just, go somewhere for a month.
I don't
and
think we
record.
would do it any other way with the analog way of
Right.
doing it. You couldn't really sporadically do it and get a consistent sound.
Right.
You can do that with digital maybe because you can jump around and keep the same presets, whatever. But if you want your drum sound to be a consistent experience, analog, that space needs to be the same space.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, it's going to pull the listener out of the feeling.
And we also always preferred to do it like this, like closed as somewhere and just be there and creating our own environment. We did it already with that second album. We're in the Slovak mountains in a cottage, and we're there like 14 days and we recorded the album, which was like super crazy intense. And now we knew like we just need more time. So we were really trying to get that month. And I think next time it showed us that next time maybe even more would be good.
Even more time. But we might change it up next time because we're building our own studio, and that studio can stay whatever, like it can, once it's set up, it can stay that way. And I think I would like to be able to have songs happen entirely in a moment.
Yeah.
And not
have to sort of wait.
Not always do deep pre-production and have something be super tight. I think like looser can be really cool sometimes, and you need that to be the moment that it happens.
No metronome in the next album.
No metronome next time, yeah. So we're one more thing, like one more layer deep.
Taken away.
Yeah.
And it would be also cool if we would start recording together, because this album was still recorded like one instrument by another.
Yeah.
And that would be probably the goal, which I think would be possible now. Like
no metronome.
No
Comping's not going to be fun.
Oh, you just don't. If you don't do comping,
you'd have to do everything kind of like doing it live with everyone playing together would be the easiest way to do it without a metronome, I feel like.
Yeah, can be.
Yeah.
I've done records with broken up without metronome before though.
Mm-hmm.
It can work, but we would want to do like rhythm section and definitely drums and bass, like take by take. I think next time.
Mm-hmm.
Which this time we had the pre-production stuff, and then the drums were recorded to the pre-production. Then you're like just pulling out elements each at a time until you're up to the vocal, and then it's the last thing that gets pulled out.
Right. Nice. And Pauline, you've joined the band since the move to Berlin, right? Am I right?
Not quite. I also was not yet present for this 1 month of recording.
Right.
I joined you in the beginning of this year, mainly for the live set at first, because they were actually looking for a drummer, but
and you were like, I can't drum, but if you need a guitarist.
But according to Andy, there was no appropriate drummer around.
I was either going to play guitar or drums, and
okay.
It's way harder to find good drummers.
Mm-hmm.
And we're trying, and I think it wasn't so bad, but like also when we spotted Pauline, there was no way back.
She was
like
the one.
She just had such a vibe and such a good feeling for music and good understanding for also our music from the first moment where we showed her songs, that it was pretty clear that it can't be anybody else.
Hmm. And you recently did a tour, am I right? Or at least you were, yeah. How was that booked? Did you guys do that all yourselves, or was it through a booking agent? Or
We have a booking agent for Slovakia and Czech Republic.
right.
When we have some foreign concert, I usually book that, or sometimes somebody helps us. And we're also right now looking for like proper booker
Hmm.
in Germany. So if somebody listens to this and like our music, we are here. Yeah, everything is easier with the booker because I think these days maybe you don't need labels so much, but if you have a booker, you just can concentrate so much more on doing music.
Hmm. And this fundraising campaign is part of the not needing labels so much anymore. So there's you guys can explain it, but fundraising
very,
campaign.
very important notice. We have a crowdfunding campaign running at the moment to fund the release of our new album. And yeah, so if you listen to this and if you want a nice CD or even a nice vinyl, you should definitely check it out.
Yeah. There's also some experiences with us. We prepared lots of like rewards which people can choose from, and it's very important step for us because we had label before. We were under biggest Slovak independent label, and they were super nice, and we are still very good friends with them. But we somehow finished that collaboration, and then we were thinking like how we'll do it next, and now we decided that we'll try to record alone. So it's a big challenge for us, and that's why we are doing this crowdfunding.
Hmm. And you were also talking with a Berlin-based label or something that then fell apart. Obviously, no need to name names or anything, but can you talk a little bit about
I'll name
what
names.
happened there?
Fuck that guy.
Yeah, we got signed by one Berlin label, and it all looked very nice and legit. And at the end, it just wasn't like.
Yeah, it's just the same old like label behavior that like they used to do in the 90s, except like with way less money, where they sign a bunch of acts and then they look for the one that has some luck. It's just down to luck. Then they just drop everyone else,
Right.
or shelf everyone else.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously, like we didn't know about they're signing like so many people at once. We had friends who are under that label, so we thought like actually it would be nice collaboration, but I don't know, it didn't work with us, and maybe it's good. I think
it's for the best.
At the end, for the both sides, it's for the best, and it also showed us that we maybe should concentrate more on songwriting and recording and releasing, however, than just emailing all days.
Yeah, and also concentrating on trying to reach people directly and really make this crowd to artists relationship stronger versus artist to label to whoever. And yeah, I think it's a really beautiful concept that I actually also hope art is going to move into more, that people have more have more awareness that it's very hard to earn money as a musician, and that if you want to consume music all day long for basically free on Spotify, you should think about supporting some people. So I hope that in the future it's going to really become more of a thing.
Can you talk a little bit about how the fundraising campaign works? Is it sort of like a based around merch and CDs and vinyls and a pre-order type of setup, or is it donate to a goal and then we can make these things possible? How's it kind of laid out?
Yeah, both kind of. Like this crowdfunding is running for a month, and what will happen in April is that we'll release that album, hopefully, and we want to do CDs and LPs. And we also want to do some merch. And if we get enough money, then another goal is also to do some PR, like physical distribution and all the stuff around the release. And it works like there are few rewards. It's people can kind of pre-order CDs, vinyls, merch, which they will get on the day of release, which is 4th of April. Or they can also book some experiences with us. So, for example, we offered their listening session before the release,
Or a dinner,
or a
where
dinner
Ella
with
cooks.
us.
Cool.
Yeah. So it's or actually private concert for a living room, or like there is lots of it, and people can choose by their own preference. And we have 2 campaigns running because our crowds and our fans are spread in Slovakia and Czech Republic and in Germany and abroad. So we did one which is English one and one Slovak one.
Right.
So people can operate it in their own language
Yeah.
so they don't get confused.
How did you figure out how to do all of this? Was it like, did you know someone who had done it, or were there resources that you looked at that were really useful in explaining how to set up a whole campaign?
On my bachelor's, I was studying music management, so
Right.
I kind of knew some things about it, and I also like fundraise some money through fundings mostly. I never did crowdfunding before, but I already looked in it a few times before because I was thinking about doing it. And yeah, and also it really helped me. Like usually these platforms where you can do these crowdfundings, they have people who are working there, and you can have a call with them and consultation. And I did this
Okay, nice.
with every of these platforms. So every question I had, basically they helped me with it. So it can look confusing and it takes lots of time because you need to kind of program this basic website, but then it's actually it's easy. It just takes some little time.
Yeah. And what does the process look like for distribution, for trying to get for physical distribution, for trying to get your CDs and vinyls in places where people can buy them apart from a web shop?
So in Slovakia and Czech Republic, since it's like very small family scene, we kind of already, and we also like were there on that scene. We are there already a few years, so we know some people who have these shops, and we know some people who do this distribution. So we would just directly contact distributors, and they would do it for us. And yeah, abroad is more complicated. I'm not 100% sure how we'll do it here, but I don't know. Maybe we'll just go shop by shop and ask if they want to sell the CD.
Yeah.
That's maybe a good start in a new territory. Yeah.
What's the process like for getting vinyls printed? Is it like, what's the kind of numbers you'd have to reach to know that it's a viable option, to be able to like look at your like, what are you looking at to know, oh, this is actually an option for us, we could do vinyl pressings? Because it's not cheap, you know?
Like how we choose how many pieces we'll do, or how?
Or yeah, and also how you know that like, how do you know you're going to sell enough?
We don't know.
Fair enough. Yeah.
But people buy merch and vinyls on the shows. They like it. We have some data from our previous releases, because we always did. Well, with the first album, we just did CDs. Then we did CDs and vinyls with second album, and it's constantly changing. So we are somehow always looking on the situation, and we're also talking with our previous label a bit, and asking for advices from people around us, and for their experiences. I think that's the best way how to find out how the music scene is looking right now.
And for the production side of things, when you are doing a release on CD, on vinyl, on digital, are you having to do separate mixes, separate masters for each of these different things, or is there any level of one size fits all?
Yeah, mix is the same, but the master is different.
Right.
Master for vinyl comes out quite like substantially quieter, a master for digital. You have mastering for Apple, which is really just a encoding thing. It's
Right.
MP3A, maybe some other form of MP3, which works. It's a high resolution MP3 that only
Okay,
works on
right.
iTunes.
Mhm.
Then Spotify is just 24-bit
Yeah.
WAV, which comes out at 192. I don't know. This like
Yeah,
whatever, man. Like
Yeah, basically, we just send it to mastering,
yeah.
and they send us back
okay,
like
right.
I didn't master it.
thousands
okay, right.
different types, which we can use for TV, Spotify,
Yeah.
Apple,
A
whatever.
guy called Zeno mastered it. He's
Big Z.
Big Z.
Shout
He's
out.
the best in Berlin,
Yeah.
in my opinion.
Does all the stuff that you don't need to know about.
Yeah.
I've kind of lost track a little bit of where we were. I was distracted by the briefs.
By the Big Z.
We can talk about Zeno if you want.
Go for it. If you have something to.
I mean, he's got crazy gear, this guy.
He's the best.
He
I
just,
don't even know who this person is.
He's just a guy who's just like, he's this German guy, but he's a cool guy. Drives a Tesla, you know. He's like
He
the
has a
only
Grammy, no?
Yeah, he's got a Grammy. He's like the only musical artist in Berlin who probably drives a Tesla and has a Grammy.
And he's the sweetest guy. He played
sweet.
in our music video with
Oh,
you.
yeah, that's right.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's
Which video?
Which?
And Mirror Me.
Mirror Me. And
Ah.
you and he had a role of
Construction workers.
yeah.
Angry
Ah.
construction workers, yeah. But anyway, he's got like the best, craziest studio. It's like a spaceship. He like takes your music and runs it through handmade
Mystery things.
Swedish hardware.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But he does it.
He does it and it sound good.
How did
And
you get
mostly
to
he
know
has
him?
like super good ears, no?
Yeah.
Like that's all he is about, and he loves mastering.
Yeah, he really loves mastering. He'll like corner you at a party or something, and if he gets going and like starts talking about like 1 decibel and like 2K and like 0.5 of a decibel at 2K, just like opening the whole thing up, man. You're like, whoa.
He's the best.
All right, bro.
Yeah.
How did you get to know him? Were you just looking for a master and he came up, or
I've always worked with him
okay,
through
right.
a couple different
Yeah.
bands that I've produced, and he was the guy. I got to him through the band Parcels.
Oh,
They
right.
told us about, in my old band, they told us about a recording studio to go to work in, and his studio was connected to the studio we were working in.
Oh, right.
And the guy who produced Parcel's first record, he produced my band's
Oh,
this
okay.
EP, and we were working on it in there, and this guy Zeno came walking past, and he really liked it. He's like, "Well, this is super cool. Can I master this?" And then the guy who was producing, he was like, "If he says he wants to do it, like let him do it. He's the best in Berlin." So we were like, "Okay, cool."
Sure.
And then he's the best in terms of like what you would call a transparent master. Like he gets something loud and impactful and with the right emotion, but he's not a guy who's adding.
Mhm.
He subtracts in a way that makes the thing work perfectly. Very
Interesting.
transparent.
Yeah. Just thinking of mystery people in music videos, I wanted to ask about the time and space video and the kind of mystical character. What is that? Is it a folklore character? Can you talk about that a bit?
Yeah, it's
Gold
Slovak
man.
traditional folklore mask. It's called kubo, and we got it borrowed from our friends who are like big folklorists, and we just really like the mask. It's a mask which is used in Christmas plays,
Oh, okay.
and yeah,
It's
we
made of
just-
sheep wool.
It's made of sheep wool. It's like super nice material.
Must have
and-
been boiling though in the video, right? Because it looks like summer.
Yeah, it was summer, and poor Rory, who was like the sweetest guy who worked with us on video, he was in that mask like dancing wildly in like 25 degrees. Yeah, it was pretty hot probably, but yeah, the mask is
What's its name? The suit.
Kubo.
Does it have
It's-
like a specific meaning, or is it just like a character that comes up in
Um,
folklore?
Yeah, it's just this character from Christmas
Plays.
Christmas plays.
Mm.
Yeah, which people used to play in church,
Mhm.
and it's this like play about little Jesus and
Little baby Jesus.
little baby Jesus and shepherds, and how the shepherds hear about that baby Jesus was
Right.
born, and
But
This-
so this guy's like
this old
some.
school tide play.
He's some kind of mountain sheep monster creature, or
I really need to look more into this, but I think he's also somehow
the spirit of Jesus Christ.
no. He's somehow part of shepherds, I think. But
Oh, okay.
I'm
Well, he has, like,
really not
the-
100%
The
sure.
shepherd hook.
Oh, that
No.
thing's another thing.
That's another
Oh,
thing. That's
okay.
Ozembuch, so earth shaker in a direct translation. And that's a Slovak folklore instrument. And this one, which was in video, we made by ourselves. Like we found this huge stick in France in mountains, and then we brought it here, and we found these cool stripes on flea market. Which was like from some 70s rock store, which was closed. And then we had broken tambourine, and we just screwed some beer
Lids.
Bottle caps.
Bottle
lid-
caps, bottle
lids,
caps.
yeah.
And broken tambourine pieces.
and broken tambourine pieces, and we made this traditional Slovak instrument and put lots of power and energy in it. And now we use it in every show, in every video,
Yeah.
and in every possible
Occasion.
occasion. Yeah.
It's our totem.
How are the visuals usually planned? Were you coming up with it as you were writing the album, or was it kind of afterwards? Let's figure out how to translate this into a visual medium.
Like videos?
Yep.
This
And the
video
costumes
was.
and everything, because the costumes are really like.
Thank you. I
Figured
made
out.
it.
Costumes are Ali picks them, but those are just our clothes. We dress like that.
Yeah, we dressed like that, and this was that our daily clothes brought to the max.
Right.
We dress like that in summer. And this video, Time and Space, which I think it was like the most beautiful video experience we ever made, I think. And it was very spontaneous, actually. We just, again, put one rule that we will shot it analog.
So we shot it on 30 millimeter film.
16.
Was it 60?
Yeah, 16.
16.
16, sorry.
16
yeah.
millimeter film, and that was super cool because also like guys who shot it are our very good friends, and
Olaf Spitter,
Olaf Spitta
he directed it.
and Tim and Rory and Richard, the sweetest guys, and they also really wanted to shot on film because you don't have that, you can't do it every day
Mhm.
because it's quite spendo, and we all really were like, okay, let's do this, and we just planned it a bit, but it was more like, let's go for a walk in the forest, and we didn't have everything planned. It just turned out very well because we just for the first time were fully us, and we're not trying to play characters in the video or play some big story. We just decided like, just let's do it very
Yeah.
naturally.
Yeah. Are you using the same? You're still shooting analog for like the campaign video and stuff like that, because there's kind of a look that's
Actually,
shared
yeah.
across all of everything.
Yeah, that wasn't film, but
Right.
we do shoot on this
Little cassettes.
late 90s cassette
Right.
Camcorder.
camcorder
Yeah.
style things.
Is it one of the weird sort of like semi-digital mix ones where they were like, "Oh, digital's a thing," and then
This one, the one that we shot that on is it's
Right.
it's the it's like a early 2000s really classic video camera. It's a great one actually.
Cool.
Really nice look.
Yeah, it was super nice. And then we had even one like little one, and we shot our last video on that, which
Yeah.
is coming out on 6th of December.
Cool. So
Or
it's
it's
out.
probably
It's
out.
probably out by
Yeah.
now when this comes out. Yeah.
So that one we didn't have any budget for that video, so we were let's just shoot
At the house.
at the house
Just
in
the vibe.
our living room, and we just did that.
And the video camera malfunctioned.
Oh, no.
So we only had 10% of the footage that we shot to work with.
Yeah.
And what footage I did have to edit was like broken and choppy and weird, but somehow it still came out as like a
It's a vibe.
vibey music video.
Yeah.
I don't know.
How can I use this maybe?
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Well, we're coming to the end. We've done about 45 minutes. Is there anything else you really wanted to talk about while you're here?
Music.
You want to talk about music?
I don't know.
Yeah.
That's why we are here for.
Yeah.
No?
Are you already working on the next album? The
Yeah.
next thing?
Yeah.
There's some bangers in
Serious
the making.
bangers. Yeah.
Serious bangers written, and
Yeah.
we are now finishing that studio,
Hmm.
and we are opening it. And the main goal is to record and record and record and then release. We said like we'll release one album a year,
We
but
want to do an album.
I don't
yeah.
know if that's realistic.
We can.
Hopefully,
The thing is if you're not held back by the industry,
Mm.
you can smash stuff out. And I think it's the way to do things now with how the medium of music is consumed.
With a good combination with TikTok.
I'm not sure about that, but
I stopped using it actually for Tolstoys.
yeah,
Yeah, sometimes I do, but
maybe Paulie can take over the TikTok. It's
Yeah,
more-
I
Also,
think
it's not
that's-
as useful for reach as it once was, I feel like.
it's
Is
it's become algorithmic now again.
Yeah.
as Instagram has, and so that natural reach is also gone on that medium.
Yeah.
we just rely on people, on you guys. So come for show.
Yes.
Come to the shows.
Support the crowdfunding.
Yeah, but like, we kind of were really long on this run for having big partners, big labels, and abroad labels, and all of this. Like, we're in this Tolstoy's works like 8 years, and just now we realized that maybe the way is to just get closer with your community and release directly for people and not plan everything 2 years in advance, because then you don't live it anymore and people can
Mhm.
feel it. And that's why we kind of changed this perspective right now. We'll see how it works. I don't know, maybe in a year we'll have different opinions on it, but right
With the
now
next album.
that's how we feel.
Yeah.
It's going to be fun for sure.
Yeah.
Nice. Do you have upcoming shows that you have dates for, maybe in the new year?
We just finished the tour. We were touring whole year, and now we are planning a new one. And it will start in May. So at first we'll do Czechoslovak tour and some Berlin show in May, and then in June we are planning European tour, which hopefully will be also, which will hopefully happen. It's still in the phase of planning, but everything will be on our social media.
Which is in the description. So yeah. Yeah. Anything else you guys want to promote before we cut off?
There is no limit to love.
And sorry, I feel bad continuing after that would be a really good endpoint, but I have to say thank you for listening to everyone. Please leave a review if you can. That helps us a lot. Share, and thank you all three of you for coming.
Thank you for having
Bye.
us.
Thank you.
Have a nice time.
Bye.